Charlton. I'm an associate professor here at the University of Wollongong, and I work in the School of Medicine in the Nutrition and Dietetics program.
Would you just be able to tell us a little bit about your research?
Before I came to Wollongong, I was working in South Africa for probably a whole decade, and I was working on salt reduction strategies. Now, salt reduction is really important because salt is directly associated with blood pressure. We all eat too much salt in our diet, mostly from processed foods. In a country such as South Africa, it's very interesting because there are a whole range of different cultural groups that have different dietary patterns, but each of those cultural groups likewise consumes too much salt. So as a result of the work that we've done, we were able to provide a good body of evidence that has since been taken up by the South African government to now put into place legislation to really control how much salt food manufacturers can put into a whole category or a whole variety of different processed foods. So this is kind of groundbreaking work because South Africa was the first country in the world to pass this kind of legislation. This is a big deal because just by cutting salt by about 0.85 grams a day, which is less than a quarter of a teaspoon, it's estimated that about 7,000 lives could be saved. So we're hoping that Australia might follow the lead of a developing country such as South Africa.
My name is Quentin Hannick. I'm a Senior Research Fellow at the Australian National Centre for Ocean Resources and Security. We have a number of different projects in ocean governance, fisheries governance and marine conservation. A lot of that is mostly in the Pacific Island region and Southeast Asia. And one of the first things you learn working particularly in that kind of marine conservation, ocean governance space is in places like the Pacific or Southeast Asia, it's all about people. These resources are critical to food security and to economic development, and that conservation and development have to go hand in hand. A lot of our work now is about trying to find mechanisms so that communities and stakeholders have an interest in achieving a sustainable outcome.
What do you see are some benefits of having a global collaboration?
Most of the issues that we work in are global. Whether it be climate change, fisheries, water, anything like that that's transboundary requires a global approach. It can't be solved by one country by itself. And similarly that applies to research projects. We work in a country called Kiribati in the middle of the Pacific Island region, and we partner up with a whole range of different institutions and governments and communities.
My name's Ebby Hayes. I'm a PhD student at the Centre for Archaeological Science at the University of Wollongong.
My name's Richard Folliger. I have a professorial research fellowship at the University of Wollongong. My role in the project is basically to set up and develop facilities for doing useware and residue research.
So I'm doing a PhD in archaeology for the Centre for Archaeological Science at the University of Wollongong, and I'm looking at a collection of grinding stones that come from one of the earliest human occupation sites in Australia, and I'm trying to determine the function of the grinding stones through residue and useware analysis. At the moment I'm doing a student research exchange at the University of Liège, which is in Belgium.
What are some of the benefits of having an international collaboration?
It's been very helpful because lots of people in Europe actually are working on useware analysis. There are different advances in other parts of the world that otherwise we wouldn't really hear about in Australia.
The different laboratories all have slightly different techniques. We're not all doing exactly the same thing, and Ebby's brought a lot of skills from the University of Wollongong to here, and they're providing another range of skills that complement our work.